All right, so we're diving deep today into a topic that's been buzzing around,
Yeah.
specifically two popular mid-drive e-bike motors from BAFANG,
Okay.
the M620, often called the Ultra, and the newer M630.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to cut through all the technical jargon and try to figure out which one of these motors might be the best fit for your needs.
Right.
You know, BAFANG's been around since 2003.
Yeah. They've been around for a while.
They've been a major player in the e-bike world for a long time.
Oh,
And
fairly.
you know, their mid-drive motors, like these two we're talking about,
Yeah.
they really give e-bikes a more balanced feel,
Mm.
and they make climbing hills a lot easier because they use the bike's gears.
Yeah, exactly. Much more efficient that way.
All right, so let's start with the M620, which came out around, what, like 2018 or so?
Yeah, around there.
So technically there's, 750W, 1000W, and even some 1500W peak power versions of this motor.
Wow.
And it's got a pretty impressive 160 Nm max torque.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it weighs about 6.7 kilograms and runs on either 48V or 52V and uses dual sensors to measure your pedaling power and speed.
I see.
So you know if you often carry heavy loads
Uh-huh.
or you like to ride on really rough terrain like sand or snow,
Yeah,
the M620 seems like it's designed for that.
absolutely.
It's a good choice for e-cargo bikes, e-fat bikes,
Yeah. Makes it
and even high-end EMTBs that need a little extra boost.
for sure.
And what's interesting is that it's evolved over time.
Oh, yeah. How so?
So internally, the controller and transmission have been updated.
Okay.
And around 2021, they switched to CAN bus communication,
Right.
which is a more robust and faster way for the components to talk to each other.
Yeah, that's a big improvement over the older UART system.
Right. And then around 2020, they started using steel gears for better durability.
Oh, wow. So it's built to last.
Yeah, for sure. And you see the M620 on a lot of different e-bikes.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
From, those expensive full suspension EMTBs
Right?
by brands like Rise, Volton, and Frey,
Yeah.
to those heavy-duty Baku e-fat bikes.
Those are awesome.
Yeah, and even some mid-priced and lower-priced hardtail e-bikes.
Interesting.
Given that it came out a while ago,
Yeah.
do you think it's being phased out in favor of newer motors, or
That's a good question.
does it still have a place in the market?
Well, I think its widespread use shows that it's really reliable and performs well for different needs and budgets.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So, maybe not phased out, but definitely still relevant.
Right.
Now, let's move on to the M630.
Okay.
This one was just announced in the middle of 2023.
Wow, brand new.
Pretty much. And it comes in two power options.
Okay.
1000W and 1500W.
All right.
But the real difference is the torque.
Oh, yeah.
It's got a whopping 230 to 250 Nm.
Wow. That's a huge jump.
It is, and that translates to real power.
Yeah.
Like, you'll be able to climb hills that would stall other motors, and you'll be able to keep going, even on the toughest trails.
Oh, wow. So this is for, like, serious riders.
Yeah, definitely for people who really push their bikes to the limit. In terms of design, it's pretty similar to the M620 internally,
Okay.
but it uses CAN bus communication exclusively.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit heavier,
How much heavier?
about 6.85 kilograms.
Okay, not too much.
No, not a huge difference.
So for those who might be thinking of swapping out their old motor for this one,
Right.
it uses the same hanger plate as the M620.
Yeah. That's good for compatibility.
Right, but it's wider and has a different bottom shape.
So you'll need to make sure it fits in your frame.
Yeah, definitely check the clearance.
And another difference is the cable comes out the side,
Okay.
unlike the M620 where it comes out the top.
All right, so it sounds like it could be a pretty straightforward swap.
It could be, but those dimensional differences,
Yeah.
they mean you'll need to be careful.
Okay.
This motor is really aimed at demanding EMTD riders
Okay.
who are tackling very steep and technical trails,
Right.
and also e-cargo and e-fat bike riders who need a lot of power. And BAFANG actually suggests pairing it with their GVT automatic shifting internal gear hub,
Oh, wow.
specifically for fat e-bikes.
Interesting. And you can't buy that GVT system separately.
Nope, it's only available as part of a complete bike.
All right, well, let's talk a bit about motor control.
Sure.
Both the M620 and M630 seem to use Hall sensors internally,
Yeah, they do.
which help the motor's controller track the rotor's position for smooth operation.
Right. And efficiency.
Right. And the dual sensor we talked about earlier,
Mm.
that refers to the torque and cadence sensors
Yeah,
for pedal assist.
exactly.
What about putting an aftermarket controller on one of these motors?
Ooh, that's where things get a bit tricky.
Really?
How so? Well, it's possible.
Okay.
They're both BLDC motors.
Yeah.
but it's complicated.
Like what kind of complications?
You'd have to deal with wiring sensor compatibility, communicating with other components over CAN bus, and then tuning the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
And you'd probably lose the torque sensing function.
Really?
Yeah. So while you can do it, yeah, it's not really practical. Right. The original controller is just plug and play, and it's already optimized for the motor.
Makes sense. So it sounds like if you need serious torque for extreme off-roading,
Uh-huh.
or competitive EMTB riding,
Yep.
or you're interested in that GVT automatic shifting for a fat e-bike,
Right.
the M630 is the way to go.
That's where BAFANG seems to be heading.
Yeah.
The M620 is still a great option,
Yeah.
especially for heavy hauling or tough trails.
Yeah.
And it might even appeal to DIYers who like to tinker with their e-bikes.
Right, especially the older versions with the UART communication.
Exactly.
So how do these mid-drive motors compare to hub-and motors
Good question.
in general?
Well, mid-drives are generally more efficient for hills and varied terrain,
Okay.
and they give you better handling.
Right.
Hub motors are simpler to install,
Mhm.
and they're often more affordable,
Yeah.
and they can be a good choice for flatter rides. But the M620 and M630 really shine when you need high performance and efficiency in demanding situations.
That makes sense.
And speaking of fat e-bikes and specialized designs,
Yeah.
you might have heard of something called a belt brake frame.
Oh, yeah. What's that all about?
Can you explain that?
Yeah, so a belt brake frame has an opening in the rear triangle.
Okay.
So you can install a continuous belt drive,
Right.
which is super low maintenance and clean.
Yeah, and it's a good match for the rugged nature of some e-fat bikes.
Exactly.
So just to recap,
Yeah.
the M630 has more torque,
Right.
and it can be used with the GVT system.
Okay.
And the M620 is a well-established, versatile performer.
Got it. So final thought for our listeners.
Right.
Thinking about what we've discussed about performance differences,
Yeah.
intended applications, what kind of riding experience are you looking for? And how might either the M620
Yeah.
with its proven capability
Right.
or the M630 with its cutting-edge power and integrated tech
Sure.
support your ventures?
Interesting question.
Or, maybe even reflect where you think e-bike technology is going.
Yeah, for sure.
That's all for our deep dive today.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.